Hi, Rancho Santa Margarita, Shawn Gordon, Rancho Santa Margarita City Council candidate here. This is going to be my last video before the election on Tuesday. This weekend daylight savings time ends. November is coming along nicely, depending on your point of view. Fiscal responsibility, that's going to be my topic, my last topic. So, our city's in good shape. We got $23 million in the bank. We're safe. I think we're top 5 for our population in California. That's all good stuff. Those things all happened in the course of being a city, despite what mix we've had on the council. We had some real contentious relations going up until a couple of years ago through at least 1 or 2 sessions. So these things happen despite the mix of people on the council. I'm going to go ahead and address my opponents kind of directly on this because I need to talk about a few things. So to give you a little sense of history, the city was founded in 2000. Carol Gamble, the mayor pro tem right now, was one of the people that helped get that done. She was then on the city council, and Tony Beal, who is currently the mayor, was her city planner. Tony went on to be on the council, and he's essentially been in there now for 16 years running, including his initial stint as city planner. Carol has been in there now for 12 years with a short break in the middle. So the lineage is then that Tony worked for Carol, then Brad worked for Tony. Brad is now on city council. Mike Vaughn worked for Brad, and Mike Vaughn is now on city council. And then Jerry Holloway, who has been there kind of on and off as well since 2002. So there was an article in the Register a few weeks ago, and it was showing the financial disclosures of the various candidates thus far. So there's something called the 460 form. Let me see it here. And this is what you have to file. It's public disclosure. You can just go and ask, and you can get it, within a couple minutes. Not a big deal. I don't have one filed because I didn't raise any money, and I didn't spend enough to warrant it, had I even put it in on my own. So there's a threshold for that. And that was a choice I made at the beginning. I didn't want to take any money from anybody, and I wasn't going to spend a ton of money to do this. So as opposed to being a nefarious thing, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I've spent so far, slightly under $300. 180 of that was signs, and the rest was social media and a couple things like that. So that is my disclosure, and that's why I haven't filed anything. So there's nothing nefarious there. So I have my opponent's financial disclosures, and I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple of things here, just so you can see. Saying that the city, is in good fiscal shape, look at how you do your own thing. They've both spent somewhere around $7,000 on this campaign, and the only person they're running against is me. So let's see. Let's take a little look. We'll go through Carol Gamble's. Carol's been mayor now 3 times, by way of reference, and Tony's been mayor 5 times. So let's see. So Carol had has an ending balance of about $11,000, and some of the things that she spent money on or donations. We have O'Connell Landscape Maintenance. The city has a deal with them. Looks like it came from Jerry O'Connell, who runs it. Anyway, that was $1,000 there. Another $1,000 from Real Estate Political Action Committee. Let's see. There was a couple of other interesting notes. That mailer you got the other day, that was about $3,400. That was a nice big one. About $1,400 on signs, and that's kind of the extent of it. There's a few things here like South Orange County Economic Coalition. Now, what was interesting with both Tony and Carol is they had an expense to continuing the Republican Revolution. $300. This is one of those mailers you get that endorses people. Now, I got offers to be on these things. Basically, you just pay them and you're on it. So here they each paid $300 to be on this. You know, it doesn't come from the Republicans. because the logo is wrong. And this is a little tip for you. You see that red, white, and blue elephant? If there aren't 3 stars in the elephant, then it didn't come from the Republican Party. Now, both of them were endorsed by the South Orange County chapter of the GOP. I forget their exact name. I was invited to go in and meet with them to get their endorsement. This was the only one that I got that wasn't a request for money. And I interviewed with the register. So I show up, and 80% of the people in the room making the decision were friends, family, and co-workers of my 2 opponents. So how valid is that? When I spoke to the organizer afterwards, I said, that was a little ridiculous. And he said, oh yeah, I probably should have had those guys leave. And then one of the people that was talking to me wasn't supposed to because they were a co-worker of the other 2 and had been admonished not to before we met. And again, the organizer said, oh yeah, I probably should have stopped him. So really, is there a whole lot of validity to these endorsements that you get when the deck is stacked so clearly, one direction, and you're paying to be on this, or they're shelling out $4,000 to put a giant mailer into your mailbox? I have citizen endorsements on my page, and you're welcome to go look for those. You see the thing here. I'm going to link to an OC Register story from a couple years ago on something that's interesting, and this goes to the campaign donations to Tony. So let's take a look. There's been 2 filings on these so far. So this is interesting. So Tony Beal, his wife works for Assemblyman Bill Brow. And I like Bill. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Bill Brow donated $5,000 to Tony's campaign. Again, that's fine. Bill Brow's wife is running for city council for Dana Point. Again, fine. But when you're giving endorsements, and Tony has endorsed Bill's wife, you should sort of disclose the relationship that exists and the financial ties between you. And I've never seen these things sort of publicly put out there when they're making their endorsements. So, I don't know. That was a little bit weird to me. So the other thing that stood out to me is, let's see, it's not on here. It's on this one. It has to do with donations. Again, we have a $1,000 donation from the company who does the city landscaping. We have a $500 donation from the local bank, South County Bank. And I like the manager, Mike, over there a lot. He's a really good guy. But the city does their banking with South County Bank, and then South County Bank is donating money to a campaign. Maybe that should have come from an individual as opposed to the bank. But CR&R, that's our trash pickup. $1,000 donated here. Now, I'm going to read just a little bit here from this article in the Register. This is from the OC Watchdog, and I'm going to put that link so you can read the whole thing. So it says here, $1,000 to support Tony Beal, an incumbent candidate running for re-election for RSM. Beal voted in favor of extending CR&R's contract until 2020 without putting the contract out for bid. The contract will be automatically renewed every 5 years with or without a council vote or bidding. Now, this company donated $1,000 to his last campaign, donated $1,000 to this campaign, and in addition to that, they spent $5,400 on campaign literature to oppose a candidate that was running against Carol and Tony the last time. Is that illegal? Probably not, but it doesn't look very good. You're giving a no-bid contract to a company, and then they're pumping money into your campaign and against your competitors. And if you read this whole article, this company, CR&R, they are neck deep in politics around here, pushing money into cities all over the place. So, I don't know, these endorsements, the money, follow the money. Incumbents, Tony and his wife were delegates to the RNC convention. They're big Trump supporters. Part of their support of Trump is that he's an outsider. The irony is a little bit thick when you have somebody who's never left office in RSM for 16 years wants to be there for 20, maybe 24, but pushing for somebody that has no political experience for president. Sometimes we need to change. Things may be good. They can be better. Can they be their best? We can try to get to the best. Safety in the city. Tony likes to talk about spending half of the budget on law enforcement. He's proud of that. If we're so safe, why does it take half of our budget to keep us there? I don't know. There's just something weird with that phrasing. We're spending about $9 million a year on law enforcement. When I moved here 18 years ago, there were 2 part-time sheriffs. No doubt there's crime, and no doubt we like to have police here. Is there a better way to manage that? I'm not sure yet because I don't have all the numbers. But to kind of brag that we spend half of our budget on law enforcement, and then we talk about how safe we are. Are we safe because we spend half of our budget on police, and so they're out there just grabbing people all the time, or which isn't the case, or are we safe because it's just a great place to live in general? These are questions you got to answer for yourself. Maybe I shouldn't have delved into this territory, but a lot of people don't look at it. These are public documents. There's nothing crazy here. The only thing that really kind of stands out to me is just the incredibly large amount of money these guys spent on this campaign and raising money. Does it really take $6,000, $7,000 each to win your seat again? For however many times? How long is enough? So let's see. We're sitting at 12 minutes on this video. Sorry it went long. Wanted to kind of get a lot of things out there at the same time. Vote on Tuesday. Shawn Gordon, Rancho Santa Margarita City Council. Vote once for me, and we're gonna dig in and we're gonna make things even more awesome. This place is gonna be Nirvana or Shangri-La. It's close. We'll get it all the way there. All right. Thanks.